Welcome to Gregorian Chat. What is that? It's Gregorian Chat.
That's what it is.
Back better than ever for episode 29.
Better than ever.
We're almost at 30, man.
Oh, so am I.
But yeah, that's true. Hey, but it's all, uphill from there.
Is it?
Well,
I'm pretty sure not.
on your way to Jesus by that point, no.
Thanks, man.
Welcome to the episode, welcome to the podcast, I should say. Today's episode is going to be a cracker.
Yeah.
It's going to be a cracker.
I wrote down the title this time, and it is Harry Potter allowing evil to slither in?
No.
Oh,
you wouldn't even understand that pun if you hadn't seen Harry Potter.
No.
But
if you have, you'll be Ravenclaw about it.
Kidding. And before we start actually this podcast, maybe we'll just say, if you're thinking, oh no, they're going to do a podcast on Harry Potter, they're going to tell me about how evil it is, and I'm not going to want to keep watching because I like Harry Potter and I want to keep being a fan. Okay.
Pay attention.
Pay attention, okay? Now, this is not... this. Our goal isn't just to go Harry Potter is evil. I mean,
we're not here to bash it. We're not here to bash it.
We're just here to pull it apart, like all things. And this is what we should do as Catholics. We shouldn't be afraid of exploring whether or not something is truly good or bad.
Be challenged.
So here we go. So we want to kind of just talk about two main points today.
Two main things. First one, we're going to talk about witchcraft and wizardry, like in the Harry Potter universe and in reality.
Excuse me.
See, I poisoned it, and now it's. And secondly, we're going to talk about
the temptation to pride.
Yes.
Okay? The two things are actually connected, but we'll get into that later on. So the tea that we're drinking today, okay?
Yes. If you've watched Harry Potter, you'll get it, but it's called Just Lemon Myrtle. Just Lemon Myrtle. There's a character in Harry Potter called Moaning Myrtle that hangs out in the toilet.
She moans.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird concept if you're having it. It's a character that hangs out in the toilet.
Which is a ghost.
Yeah, there you go. She's a ghost, and she's called Moaning Myrtle. So we thought we'll get Just Lemon Myrtle. I mean,
and also we were walking through T2 and we couldn't find a single other reference to Harry Potter except for like maybe White Ginger because of the Weasleys.
Yeah, but we've already had that.
But anyway, okay. So going into witchcraft and wizardry, straight into it.
Right.
A lot of Christians, among my own parents. Okay, so when I wasn't allowed to watch Harry Potter or read the books when I was young. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not saying it was a bad decision by my parents. I think they had to whatever good reasons for doing it.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing that turns Christians off Harry Potter is, okay, it has witchcraft and wizardry, throw it out the window.
Yeah.
We don't have anything to do with witches and wizards. Now, I guess the problem is that the world that I was going to say Tolkien, goodness me, sorry. The world that J.K. Rowling has created. Yeah. It has, like, she talks about London, okay?
Yes.
And so then your mind starts thinking, oh, okay, so it's the same world as what we're in now, but there's also that other dimension of like the magic world.
Yes.
But is that the case?
And I suppose there is a truth in that, saying that, like, from the perspective that they're going on, it's like, witchcraft and wizardry is bad. So this can't be a story about good versus evil because they're using evil to fight evil.
Yeah.
If that's but as Don was saying, and it's true, you shouldn't use bad things to meet good ends. It's defeating the object. But as Don was mentioning, it's like we've got like a Harry Potter universe and then reality.
Yeah.
And what Rowling has constructed is a different kind of being when it comes to wizards. So what makes magic evil in the real world? Often there is like a pact with the devil. So it's like saying, I choose the devil over you, God. You have a will for me, but I'm going to go to this guy so then he can give me magic powers and I can affect change in the world. Mm-hmm. There is also a desire for like power. So it's like, that's kind of pride. It's just straight out pride. It's like, I want to be more than you have created me to be. I want things that aren't mine.
Yeah. Power and control.
Yep. And finally, it is doing something that is dealing with the occult, the supernatural, and things that aren't natural to us. So it's they're the three things that we're talking about when we're talking about witchcraft and wizardry in our world. It's dealing with things that aren't made for us. Now we look at Harry Potter and all the wizards there. How does someone become a wizard? Well, first off,
they cannot.
You can't. And we see this quite explicitly in the characters of squibs. If you know what they are, they're like half
Octopus, half squid.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
They come from a magic family, but they don't have the wizarding gene.
Yeah,
or
they don't have the midichlorians for all you Star Wars fans.
they don't have what it takes to become a wizard.
Yeah.
So we have this one character called Fletch, is it?
Fletch and Vaughn. No, Felch.
Felch. And he tries to become magic. He tries reading books and doing stuff, and he can't be magic. It never works. It always fails. Whereas, as we see with Harry Potter, he doesn't know he's magic, and all of a sudden he's told by Hagrid, "You're a wizard, Harry,
and a thumping good one." I wager something like that.
Yeah.
So he's maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's mainly. So Harry is born. Of course, his parents aren't around, so he has no kind of instruction on the fact that he is a wizard. And in fact, I think that he's raised to be unaware of it in case
Yes,
people find out. So for Harry, being a wizard is part of his nature, and let's avoid the word wizard for now. Having magic powers is something that is normal, it's natural to him and anyone else who is a wizard or a witch. Now, that is, for one, that's a huge distinction between what we see in our world, which is that wizards and witches are people, or I guess often seen as people who are dabbling in the occult and in Satanism, okay?
Yes.
Which is also misunderstood in our world, and a lot of people think Satanism is asking, it is going to the devil to get powers so that you can go out and use your powers. That's not what Satanism is. No. Satanism, because we've been talking to Father Chris about this a lot, right? Is Satan has powers, being a being of power, but he can't grant his powers to people to use at will.
No.
Instead, it takes an act of will to surrender yourself to the devil's powers, and he uses you like a parasite. And you see that with Voldemort and that
teacher,
the teacher in the first book,
the guy with the turban.
Yeah, who has Voldemort's face on his a leech.
Yeah.
So there's a distinction there between what I guess. I guess the first thing would be identifying, Satanism versus this folklore, witchcraft, and wizardry.
Yes, and so and we see that Harry accidentally uses his powers in the first movie. You see that when his cousin, he makes the glass disappear and reappear, and he falls inside this, and he talks to a snake in Parseltongue, and so it's he has these powers that he doesn't realise.
Yeah.
So he has them; they are part of him. He doesn't need a wand, he doesn't need potions, and so he's not engaging with anything other than what he has already.
Yeah, and the point of Hogwarts and what they say is, and what Dumbledore tells to a young Tom Riddle, who ends up being the bad guy who's Voldemort, and he says, you should, you're different like me, you have magic, and you should come to Hogwarts where we train you to be able to use these powers appropriately, okay?
Yes.
The problem being, of course, that Tom Riddle ends up using them inappropriately to become the villain.
Just so inappropriate. A lot like Charles Xavier.
So I guess it's identifying those couple of things. Tolkien's London, in fact, isn't even
Rowling
the same. Did I just say that again? Oh my gosh! Please forgive me. I'm not going to do it. Rowling's London isn't even the same London technically, because the angels and demons don't exist in Rowling's world.
In a similar way to the Avengers universe, they use New York and Manhattan and all that, but Manhattan doesn't get destroyed after the Avengers movie. It's still okay, if you watch Avengers movies and the point that you take from it is, oh my gosh, we live in a multiverse, right? That's not the point. No.
And the point is it's fantasy, okay? And the thing is that we don't want this podcast to ruin fantasy for people.
No.
But we're just kind of trying to pull it apart a bit. But if there's no angels in Rowling's world, then there can't be fallen angels, which means there can't be demons, there can't be the devil, which means that when they engage in magic in Harry Potter's world, they're not involved in Satanism. Okay, I hope that makes sense.
Satan is not a part of the Harry Potter universe.
No. But some people might argue Voldemort is like a representation of Satan.
But in that sense, it's kind of because the wizards and witches in Harry Potter's realm, you could maybe say that they are similar to angels in the sense that they have a power as a natural part of their being.
Yeah.
And there are fallen ones, which are Voldemort.
Yeah,
except they have bodies. And there are fallen ones like Voldemort, and there are unfallen ones like Harry and the gang. So, they're, again, it's a different realm to one that we're dealing with, and it's different rules. Like they go to school to learn witchcraft and wizardry. It's not to dabble in Satanism. It's to hone skills and to learn
that you're going to have anyway.
Just as you understand the sort of like, you know, if you drop an apple, it'll fall. That's gravity. It's like using gravity or using water to do hydropower or wind to do wind power. It's like, I'm using this as a science rather than an occult.
That's right. So I guess it leads us on to point number 2, which is, okay, well then how is it that how could it be that using magic, is evil, both in our world or in Harry's? Okay, and now I think there is a consistency between our world and Harry's in terms of how you could misuse magic, right?
Yes.
So in the Harry Potter universe, you have certain curses. So I think there are 4 curses, like the Crucio, the Death Curse, and a bunch of other ones.
Yeah.
Now I think it's worth noting, and it is noted in the movies and made quite clear that Harry never uses those curses, or he never uses the Death Curse, the ultimate sacrilege, because once you use that, then I think you essentially lose a part of your soul.
Yes, Horcruxes are formed, right?
Yeah. Well, that's another kind of magic. But to use that Avada Kedavra kind of Death Curse is like, okay, well that's forbidden, and it actually changes who you are, which is why Voldemort and the Death Eaters
don't have noses,
right?
That's why, because
it's a smelly situation. But so Harry never, like in Harry's universe, that's the bad magic, and he never goes there on purpose.
Yes, and I suppose this is the kind of like the more negative side of Harry Potter. It's like why it might be harmful for people, and like even Pope Benedict made a statement saying how there are subtle temptations in Harry Potter which could have effects on people that aren't well formed, like young people, and it's this temptation to pride, and we see it most kind of we see it explicitly in Voldemort. He's like, I don't want to follow the rules. I want to be almighty powerful. I want to cheat death. In fact, Voldemort name was taken from a French word that means to fly from death. And in that, we're seeing that he's running away from his own weakness. And so he's like, this pride is taking over. It's like, I'm better than this. I can be better than this if I just sacrifice everything that I ever have.
Which is why he also denies the fact that he hates the fact that he has a muggle born, or a human normal with no wizard powers born father.
Yeah, so he focuses on things that, things he has rather than who he is.
Yeah.
But the temptation doesn't come from that, because he's obviously bad. The temptation comes from the good wizards, because it's subtle. And what we might get for an unformed person, and that's very explicit, someone who's not very well formed in the humility of Christianity, they might see, if I had these powers, I could do good. And then we come back to that thing we mentioned right at the beginning, where it's called like doing bad in order to do good isn't doing good at all. And so, that temptation to pride of sort of like, I can be better, I can be, it's all me, rather than if I submit myself to God in humility, then I will, then I will be great.
Yeah. So that temptation to pride, which is when you actually pull apart, witchcraft and wizardry and Satanism, especially, you kind of think, what's really why are we taking issue with this? And it goes all the way back to Lucifer's fall in the Bible, right? What was his sin? It wasn't like casting spells, and it wasn't taking over people's bodies and that kind of thing. It was something that we all know and recognize, which is pride.
Yeah.
Okay. Pride was the first sin. He didn't want to be lower than God. God made him really great and glorious. So he thought, well, actually, I want to be more. Okay.
Yes.
And that is the sin that underlines all of this, like tarot card reading, horoscopes.
Yes.
Ouija boards, getting a Ouija and getting bored of it.
Yeah. It's like saying that I want something that I don't have. I want knowledge of the future. I want everlasting life.
I want surety.
Yeah. And that's not the life that we're called to live.
Because basically you're despairing in God's power, and you want to detract from the fact that He's the one who holds, all the cards.
I could do this better than you. So like I'm in this situation, and if I had this magical power, then I wouldn't be in this situation. And therefore, I'm going to find this magical power.
So I guess the question is, knowing that about witchcraft, wizardry, and how that works, is that what we see in Harry Potter? Do we see that Harry gives into this temptation to pride, or is that not what we see?
Yes, and if he does, what's the results?
Yeah,
and so I mean, there's, what we need to look into this is like, this is a fantasy novel, and fantasy novels are great. We got a lot out of them. Now, are there good and bad points to it? Yes, but what we need to do, I suppose, is we need to be aware of ourselves, and we can't let this stop with Harry Potter. We need to do this with everything. Check yourself whenever
you wreck yourself.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's right. You hit it first. When reading Harry Potter,
Ravenclaw.
Hufflepuff on the microphone. No, anyway, back to what we were saying. Check yourself when you're watching something, be it a Harry Potter movie, or reading a Harry Potter book, or even watching a chick flick. What effect is that having on you? I mean, first off, you shouldn't be watching chick flicks. It's just terrible TV.
Right?
I mean,
unless you have your wife, and then you're justified in being there to support her watching.
Yes.
Okay. No, but if your wife is then like watching a whole bunch of chick flicks, and you start to notice that maybe she has certain attitudes, or you start wearing nail polish, right? You're like, okay, something's not going on.
Maybe I shouldn't be watching chick flicks. Or like again, like with action movies, it's like I've noticed after I watch action movies, I shouldn't be driving, because I start driving recklessly.
There you go.
And putting people at risk. It's like, okay, check yourself. If you're reading Harry Potter or watching Harry Potter, and then you think, actually, I'm going to dabble in some of this occult stuff, you say maybe you should stop, because that's leading you down a bad path.
Yeah, and I guess just to kind of come back to, people might say, well, where's the evidence of that? Where's the evidence that Harry Potter isn't prideful? Well, I guess you could point to a few points, like when he first comes to Hogwarts, and the hat tells him, I don't know, like maybe Gryffindor or Slytherin, and Slytherin's like the historically kind of evil tendencies
in the movies anyway.
And so he goes, please not Slytherin. And the hat says, well, you could be great, you could be powerful if you go. There could be dark power, if you go to Slytherin. And Harry actually rejects that. And actually, all throughout the book, it's kind of like him coming to terms with the fact that he's the chosen one, but he doesn't try to like embrace that, at least in the movies, in the sense of, I guess like you could say Philippians 2, maybe I'm taking it too far. Though he was in the form of God, he didn't count equality with God as something to be grasped. And I'm not necessarily saying Harry is a Christ figure or analogy or anything, but all I'm saying is about what Philippians 2 is talking about is that pride. Whether we grasp it or whether we, leave it where it is. And instead, he chooses to help his friends. He wants to be with his friends and things like that.
And also, there's a great phrase that I try and put into everything I do, is like, seek truth where there is truth. So negating something just because it's like badly written, or it's written by a certain person, or because it's Harry Potter and involves witchcraft and wizardry. So where is the truth in this? There is a sacrificial love we see in Harry Potter. There is a kind of courage that is uplifting for young people. Virtue. There is it's said that people that have watched and read Harry Potter tend to be more tolerant of others, and it's like, these are good things. So there is truth in there, and if we seek the truth and we are after the truth, we are able to dismiss the things that aren't true.
Exactly. So in saying that, though, a few things to be aware of. Be very clear in the sense that it's like, okay, this in no way tempts me to go towards the occult or seeking magic in my own world. So I don't watch a fantasy movie and then try and apply that and go looking for those things.
Yeah.
Like I could start on a mad quest to go find hobbits. I mean, it's just frivolous.
It is frivolous.
But it's even worse if that thing is you're seeking out the evil that's in the novel, right? Okay, so it should be, you can see parallels to your own world, but use it to learn lessons, I guess, in getting away from evil. So don't be naive about reading Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or anything like that.
And also form yourself well on our own faith, because that's where our strength comes from, and that's where we will be able to read things like this and not be affected.
Exactly. So let us know what you think. Leave a comment for us. Keep the discussion going.
Yes.
Thanks for watching the podcast. We'll see you next week.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
Make sure that you check us out on our YouTube channel, Auckland Catholic Tertiary Chaplaincy.
You can also find us on Facebook, Facebook.com/The Chaplains.
And our Instagram account, which is Auckland Catholic Chaplaincy.
We're also now on iTunes. Just search up Gregorian Chat.
Boom.
That's right.
Thanks for listening.
God bless.